One thing I think that strikes one today with the Pentagon currently and the Caribbean specifically is there seems to be absolutely no rules of war being applied in this case. And Trump himself seems to have real contempt for the idea that there are things you just do not do. The rules of war, as this Secretary of Defense, just rhetorically, the president also declared his favored war crimes, open war crimes. We're going to invade countries, steal the oil, get all this stuff, which is directly destroying decades in which the United States attempted to build up international norms on these questions, especially in terms of physical attacks, kinetic war attacks in other countries in other seas. What happened?
So you can tell the story very specifically with Pete Hegseth because he wrote about it, and I've written about this myself. So readers, forgive me. So in his book, The War on Warriors, I think it's called, he describes being a young, I think he was then a lieutenant in Iraq, and getting briefed by a JAG, a Judge Advocate General, who was a military lawyer, who's telling him the rules of engagement if you see somebody with an RPG. And the rules say that unless the person turns that toward you as if he's going to fire it, you can't just blow him away. And as Hegseth describes it, he goes crazy and starts shouting at the JAG, and then tells his platoon, "Don't listen to that, that bastard. That's not what we're going to do. We're going to be soldiers. We're going to fight." And from that moment in 2005, I think it is, he's in South Baghdad. He has been at war with this idea of people disciplining the military, and he thinks the warriors have been constrained by the rule makers, the lawyers, the do-gooders. So he goes from that, in combat, to becoming the great advocate on Fox News for Eddie Gallagher. And that's how he became famous. He was on Fox News being fed by Eddie Gallagher's lawyer, Tim Parlator, who's now his closest counselor, arguably at the Pentagon, had been his personal lawyer. And Parlator's feeding him stuff about how Eddie Gallagher's been wrongly accused and is going to be stripped of his Navy SEAL pin. Eddie Gallagher had been accused of violating the rules of war, and the final charge, I think, was having his photograph taken with a corpse. But there was initially
I followed that story. It was horrifying.
It was horrifying. So he's on the air all the time with the story, and who's watching but Donald Trump? And Donald Trump decides, this young Hegseth, he's got a point. And so he pardons Eddie Gallagher.
Yes.
And that's how the Hegseth story literally begins with a rebellion against military law and discipline. And then there's a straight line to where we are now in the Caribbean, where, military law, what did Trump say, kill him, like kill him, like dead, it's like that's where we are now.
It's murder, essentially, random murder of people on the suspicion that they're doing something without even any proof.
It's dressed up in.
This was the concern with Trump the first time around. He seemed to be absolutely contemptuous of any restraints on military power. A sort of totally end of the bar drunk kind of guy. Screw them all.
But in the first term, he didn't do it.
I know, because the military actually held the line.
So we still had JAGs, lawyers who would say, "Sir, that's an illegal order."
Right.